Back in studio, here at CBS Sports HQ, from Thursday Night Football to whenever they stop keeping score. We got you covered, burning the midnight oil. Joe Musso still alongside Bryant, McFadden, and Emory Hunt. Let's start with that connection on the winning side. Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith, and Jigba.
Yes, sir.
Mac, we know it's going there. 50% of the time the ball is in the air, it's headed to 11. What has made that such a, despite that obviousness, fruitful connection between quarterback and receiver?
I think just the confidence that Sam Darnold has in JSN in the first quarter of the season has really been surprising. Remember, Sam Darnold is new to this organization. Heck, JSN is in his second season as a pro, but it looks like these guys have been working together for 5+ years when you look at the connection and the rhythm they have week in and week out. And when you think you've seen it all from JSN, he adds something else to his arsenal in terms of who he is as a route runner, who he is as a playmaker for their offense. Man, he's outstanding. And it's the thing about JSN guys, when I watch him, you can't just identify one thing that he's great at. There's a multitude of things he's great at, which allows him to put forth these outstanding numbers.
It's the fact that he can play all three positions, and when you catch passes at the high rate that he catches those, it provides that trust that you want to see from your quarterback and your wide receiver. On top of the fact that he can trust that JSN is going to be where he's supposed to be at all times. He's going to make sure, I know this guy at the top of his route, the ball's going to be out, he's going to turn around, he's going to catch him right, he's going to catch it right in the hand. So when you have the trust of where you're supposed to be from a route running perspective to a pass catching perspective, it makes it easy for a guy to say, hey, all right, I can trust this guy in any situation, any scenario, he's going to make the play.
Yeah. You can count on low percentage throws being completed at a high percentage rate right now, and I think that breeds the trust, Mac, that you're talking about. We wanted to give flowers first there, but there is so much to pick apart in this game and clean up on both sides. Even on the winning side, Seattle, 12 penalties, 4 turnovers, a -3 in the turnover margin. They had a field goal blocked, a wide receiver threw an interception, and you still beat the Houston Texans. This is not good for Houston.
No.
I'm looking at this offense right now. They can't protect the quarterback. The wide receiver personnel isn't good, and then Nico Collins goes to the locker room. Dalton Schultz missed some time in the midst of this game as well. They ran it for 56 yards. Where do you start the teach tape, Emory, on Tuesday when you're breaking this down? What is the first thing you have to tend to if you're Houston?
Little things, assignment sound football on offense, because we always talk about this every time we watch bad offense play. They're calling plays and not an offensive attack. There was no type of continuity, no type of cohesiveness, no type of sequencing of what's going on. It was like, okay, hey, we're going to get the ball to this guy on this play. Okay, now we're going to run the ball on this play. Even when we saw them get down inside the red zone, we were thinking, okay, this is probably Nick Chubb time. Nope, Woody Marks, and we're going to play action pass twice. And the Seattle Seahawks didn't buzz, they didn't fall for it, they didn't take the bait. So there was no type of offense being run by the Houston Texans, more so just plays. So once you master the little things first, blocking, catching, running, fighting for extra yards, then you can start to do the advanced things. But right now they're gonna be banged up at wide receiver. They're gonna be banged up on the offensive line, and a quarterback is starting to get shell-shocked to where we're seeing that manifest itself in how he attacks the pocket or try to manipulate the pocket.
For me, it starts and it stops with the offensive line for the Houston Texans. One thing about the game of football, which makes the offensive line unit so special, they're the only unit that their success is not dependent on anybody else's success. But offensively, everyone else's success depends on the offensive line. And if they're not doing their job, the running game is going to struggle. The wide receivers are going to struggle. The quarterback is going to struggle. And that is what we saw tonight. If you don't believe me, rewatch this ball game and look at the importance
Don't do that.
of an offensive line.
Take his word for it.
Right? And that's the issues. For Joe to give us the critical stats in terms of the mishaps for the Seattle Seahawks and for them to still win this game and cover with ease, it tells you how bad the Houston Texans were on the offensive end. It was already confusing when you look at some of the moves they made during the offseason in terms of moving guys like Laramie Tunsil, other guys from an offensive line that was bad last year. And you moved the best pieces that you had on that said unit. So it didn't make any sense, and they struggle, and they will continue to struggle because they've been a feeble unit the entire season, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
A tip of the cap and a credit to the Houston defense for keeping their team in this one competitive because, again, you force four extra possessions for your offense with turnovers. You scored 6 points of your own as a defense. and still you come up short in this one. Mac, do you credit the quarterback for staying in the fight here? I don't even feel like we could sit here and be critical of the play of CJ Stroud to a certain extent. He's got to be better. He's got to deliver the deep ball a little bit better. They're playing from a chase game script, but do you feel like with all that's happening in front of him and around him that we can critique the play of CJ Stroud right now?
Yeah, you will always critique a player like CJ Stroud when he plays the quarterback position, but there's only so much he can do.
Yeah.
There's only so much he can do. He was sacked 3 times. He was fighting for extra yards, trying to buy time, but his offensive line unit was really battle tested. And we felt like coming into this game, that would be a difficult matchup because of how Mike McDonald put pressure on opposing passers when he faced off against them. When you look at the defensive front led by Leonard Williams, D-Law, these guys get after the pass rush, after the quarterback, And when you look at the Houston Texans, that's been their Achilles heel the entire season. And remember, I talked about the last 2 ball games. We talked about the success that we started to see. And I felt like it was more so dependent on the teams they played than just the execution becoming better. Well, that came to be true. Because when you look at what they did against the Tennessee Titans, when you look at what they did on the road against a injured defensive unit in Baltimore, it was all about who they played. Because now you played against a team that's healthy and they play really great assignment football. They struggled. So for Tennessee, man, they're not a playoff caliber team. They have a playoff caliber defense, but offensively, they will be the reason why they don't get into the playoffs.
Houston, that is.
Houston, yes. Houston, yes.
What's frustrating is that you kind of want CJ Stroud to dig deep and find that same aggressiveness that he had back in college in that playoff game against Georgia, where he just started taking off and running. Like, man, there were so many opportunities for him to pick up yards with his legs to help keep the offense afloat, help keep the offense on the field, and perhaps convert some of these third downs in which they were, 2 of 14 on third down. If he can utilize his legs, I think that could calm down the offensive line just a little bit, give them some confidence. But at some point, if they're not blocking and guys are not getting open, man, just go get the first down. Go get the 6 yards, do whatever you have to do to make those plays. And if he can do that, I think that can help them find some offense.
Further outlining the situation there in Houston when the next play is run for your life.
Right.
That might be the option for CJ Stroud here because they're not protected in front of him. At the end of the night, the NFC West now has 3 5-win teams. No other division in football has more than 1. It's going to be a battle. Seattle is a part of it following this win, but so much to clean up and got to find some extra wrinkles in that offense as well. Didn't get it going on the ground, but Jackson Smith-Njigba, once again, spectacular. He leads the league in receiving yards. He's doing that on a team that only throws it 50% of the time.